Yo, what's going on, YouTube world? I am back again, just here to break down this series that I made, Pitch Please. I'm a creative from the DMV area, and I just want to give people that boost, that inspiration, that foresight, that insight, the information around creating your own stuff. Book yourself before anybody else books you. But anyways, before that rant, this stuff is hard, man. Seeing these creators continuously put stuff out over and over again on this platform, and you gotta prepare. You have to prepare your YouTube content. Some people can just have the gift of gab and just speak their life away. Shout out to those. Just showing up once a week is my thing right now, and hopefully I can do more. But let's get into it. Let's break down this show. Every time you start something new, you're gonna reach a moment where your patience and your pauses are going to start fighting you. And that's where most people fold. But creativity and creating is about showing up anyways. In that doubt, in that drought, in that clouded mind of yours. Don't let your desires outweigh your executions. Whenever your desires start to fight with your expectations, that's where hesitation starts to arise. And hesitation is where your dreams really start to go to sleep. And that's why I say trying is basically lying. Trying is giving yourself a back door in case the things that you're trying to do doesn't work. Execution is about showing up, locking the back door, throwing away the key, and saying, I'm here, I'm going to prove it to myself, no matter what. No escaping how this moment feels. We're all creative by nature, but only a few people actually show up in the creativity. So every time I break down an episode, I want to remind everybody, this whole series existed just because I just kept showing up. In the doubt, in the drought, in a lack of inspiration or motivation, I just said I have to prove it to myself. And day by day, and episode by episode, I just got better. And you can do it too. Let's talk about it. So the first thing about episode 1, our intro episode, was the first scene. The first scene was these two characters, Greg and Lee. Shout out to them. This is the only episode that we really had a true hook. You know, everything's about hook nature, but them starting dancing and saying all that crazy stuff really garnered your attention to be like, what's going on? Now, the way I lit this was pretty simple. I just kind of put in a stereotube over top. That's why you see this gloss of soft light. See the reflection in Greg's hard hat. Again, we don't really see that much contrast on the skin because everything is just front lit right here. I kind of had to do everything fast because when you're doing free projects, you really don't have time to really lock in. And I'm not going to say I didn't have time, but I like to respect people's time, especially when they're doing me a favor. So yeah, this is basically framed up this shot. When you watch this episode, always make sure in the first 3 seconds, I'm really trying to engage the viewer as we proceed. So the first shot, we have our main lead. Look how we're setting up this. First and foremost, I'm always doing the framework. The framework is shooting in a triangle in the room, creating contrast, creating depth, creating interest inside the scene. This little speaker on the right side here is intentional. I want to kind of reveal her as she comes forward, just like that. Full key lighting, soft, to really make her skin look creamy. Again, I'm not really doing the whole shadow thing right now. I just want them to look good. I just want them to just look soft. I just want them to look great. I just want a clear image. But I'm still playing within the roles of trying to create different elements inside the scene. My next shot, we have this awkward look with Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. This is top lighting. It's pretty simple. You can kind of see the tube light over top here, but still see the elements that I'm using. Still putting him in between these two dark, they call them bass straps. These are basically sound suppressors for studios. Look into that. And putting his head like kind of white in between it. And since his skin color is different from the skin color from the thing in the back of him, you can kind of see the separation there. And still using the foreground of the speaker like I did on the previous shot, and you can kind of see Amber's hand right there as we proceed. This is the over shoulder shot. We don't do this a lot. I honestly felt like this was too much. Shout out to our director, Alan. He really wanted to get this different angle from this perspective, but it's cool because we're kind of feeling his POV here. You see a little bit of his shoulder. Again, still creating those elements of that foreground right in front of the camera. Then we have Amber right in the middle. Rain, I need to start calling her Rain throughout the series. And then we have the computer. So we kind of have light to dark, to light to dark, kind of seeing all those planes of different light and different textures as we go throughout. And again, the lighting is 100% soft all across the board. Really not trying to be drastic with the skin tones right here. If anything, this is the highlight. It's a little hot, but not too bad. Proceed. So this is our all-star shot. This is probably my favorite shot of this episode. I don't know. What do you call fours when you have four things? Anyways, but yeah, we just introduced our next main, Sienna Tave. Shout out to her. As she comes into the scene, we have Jeff kind of right in front of the camera, creating that 3D depth of having him here and having the guest stars in the middle of the frame, and then having Sienna on this side. And now we're starting to use cinematic, the textures, having all the key light coming from the back of Jeff here. We have this blue light in between this key light that's coming from this corner, but also have this blue light where he's about to sit down here, and also have this other tungsten light coming out of this window. So now you see 4 different elements of different lighting from the right of the screen to the left of the screen. And this is really important when you're kind of setting up your shots. Look for different places and different moments where you can put your lighting to try to create some type of artwork with light throughout your scene. But I love how this kind of set up, having them two and keeping just enough space in between them two to kind of see them do their thing in the middle. It's kind of pretty funny. So now we're back to Amber in this shot. Now we kind of flipped. We're kind of in front of her. We're still on the same side because we were always on her left side of her cheek. So we're still on that side. Shout out to her wearing black that day. It really goes well with her background and everything. Again, still full soft lighting all across the board. Now Sienna here, Tave, she's going to get a little bit of negative because this wall has no light coming there. And the only thing that's keying her is the uplight. So this is a great accident and kind of just worked out. But essentially, you kind of want this look where you're on the shadow side and the opposite side is a little bit more lit. As we proceed, this is a cool shot. I'm shooting it through the booth where the 2 characters were to just kind of see the whole atmosphere of the studio. And I love how this texture of light is kind of making these rays kind of like a sun, not a sunset, like a sunbeam type of scenario. And all these different shadows is pretty cool. As we proceed, I move the camera from going to these 2 characters coming down and landing on Jeff. So we painted Jeff a different color. I said painted, lighted him a different color because we had to create a different scenario for him because he's kind of a person that's in the show but not really in the show, but he's going through the most real experience, he's not having a good time because whoever he brought to the studio are not doing a good job and he's kind of just over it. So we kind of just painted him that way just to put him in a different element than everybody else. And that's one of the best things that lighting can do, honestly. Now we're shooting through the window again. Now the foreground is all these artworks and this guitar in front of us going through the window. You see a little bit of the reflection. So that pretty much works pretty well. I'm not creating any shadows. So we shot this extremely neutral all across the board. Not a lot of shadows on the skin, just soft light throwing at everybody. So just make sure everything was basically exposed. In my specialty shots, I tend to get a little bit more creative with lighting. And these are all specialty shots, these singles and whatnot as we go through. This was a cool shot too, getting to my cinematic realm here. Now I have my key coming on the opposite side, kind of the back of Jeff, shooting this way. And right into the booth, we turned off the light just a little bit so we can have the dark to light type of scenario all across this board just to get that dynamic range throughout this scene. So now I'm starting to get into the bag. As we proceed, we're still in specialty shots. Now, again, Tave's lit by that uplighting that we put on the stereo tube over top. That's probably the main thing since there's no light coming on the opposite side of her, on the left side of her. You can kind of see more of the shadow. And this is the thing you kind of need to play with when you see these things. You don't want to light fully on both sides. We're trying to create some type of imbalance. And that's what your eye likes to see. Back to the original shot. The one thing about Pitch Please I really want you to tell you guys about is create a template with these shows, because going in about it all willy-nilly and just making it a whole freestyle shoot, I wanted to create a template to where I can keep coming back to this scenario. Even though we have 3 main shots, we can create new avenues but our foundation is still set. 2 girls on this side, a single on both, a double, and then the single on the guest. That is Pitch Please all the way, all across the board. Just remember that in every episode. Now, we're getting into the actual setup of the show. So this is where every guest is going to be. We're going to shoot them on the shadow side while the key is coming on the opposite side, just to create this separation throughout the middle. Now you can kind of see the glare in the glasses of the big soft source hitting his skin. Very saturated tone. Really wanted it warm, but in the back of him, as you can see, where we put that blue light to create the separation from this key light and this area behind him, so we can see different elements from what's behind his shoulder, on his right side and his left side and his key side. Now we're just creating different realms of light, different textures of light all throughout. And here's another key shot for Pitch Please, how we're going about it. Now, we're always on the shadow side of Tave and on the shadow side of Rain, because in the between them two, Rain is going to get blocked by the light because Tave is so close to her, which naturally creates that shadow on that side of her face. Now we can kind of see more separation, different tones of lighting from this uplighting that's kind of hitting both in them, but we can see the different temperatures and different intensity of lights hitting Rain's face from here and going back to the other side of her face. Again, the same thing with Tave. It's darker here, and as we come closer to Rain, it gets lighter. It gets darker here, and we go towards the right side of Rain, it gets lighter. Again, that is the framework. That is the best way, and we're kind of shooting in the middle of the frame, in the middle of the room. And yeah, that's basically it, man. Again, they come out, and then we have this triple shot. Now, these insert shots are things that we're going to do every now and then. These are just special shots. These are not shots that are baked in the show. Just in the opportunity, we see moments that we can capture. Now, granted, it's not that hard to punch into this shot because we're already here in the first place. One of the hardest shots right here is probably if I put the camera and look at them through Rain and Tave's point POV, because then we have to flip the whole entire room. So this is why I kind of stay in the middle of them two, kind of have a camera here, a camera there, and in the middle of both of them, there's 2 cameras looking opposite directions, back to back, seeing Rain and Tave and whoever the guest star is. Again, that's the template. So yeah, and that's basically all the shots for Pitch Please episode 1. Go check it out. It's probably going to be in my shorts. Tell me what you think. And yeah, again, most importantly, the reason why I'm doing this, I just want to inspire the person that has an idea, has equipment, has something. You have enough. Trust me, if you're alive, don't doubt what you have. You have enough to do something, and do something with that thing. And then you never know what's going to come out of it. You have friends, you have people you can collaborate with, and ultimately ask for help. And this is the most creative, collaborative thing that I've done, and I want to share it to the world how I did it. So until next time, there'll be a next time. Pitch Please. Check out Pitch Please. And yeah.